The Senate will come to order. I ask everyone present to please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all. In the absence of clergy, let us bow our heads in a moment of silent reflection or prayer. Reading of the Journal.
In Senate, Wednesday, May 17, 2023, the Senate met pursuant to adjournment. The Journal of Tuesday, May 16, 2023 was read and approved. On motion, the Senate adjourned.
Without objection, the Journal stands approved as read. Presentations of petitions, messages from the Assembly. Secretary will read.
Senator May moves to discharge from the Committee on Investigation and Government Operations Assembly Bill number 2873A, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 5621A, third reading calendar 764. Senator Breslin moves to discharge from the Committee on Health Assembly Bill number 3302, is substituted for the identical Senate Bill 6086, third reading calendar 857.
So ordered. Messages from the Governor. Reports of standing committees. Report of select committees. Communications and reports from state officers. Motions and resolutions. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Madam President. Amendments are offered to the following third reading calendar bills. I have three here. We have from Senator Webb, calendar number 729, print number 5129. I also have Senator May, calendar number 922, print number 5735. Also from Senator May, calendar number 923, print number 5736. I now move that these bills retain their place on order of third reading.
The amendments are received and the bills will retain its place on the third reading calendar. Senator Serrano.
Thank you. Madam President, by unanimous consent, I wish to call up the following bills, which were recalled from the Assembly and are now at the desk. Senate print numbers 264, 2832, 253, 2099B.
Secretary will read.
Calendar number 197, Senate Print 264 by Senator Stuart Cousins, an act to amend the executive law. Calendar number 566, Senate Print 2832 by Senator Breslin, an act to amend the penal law. Calendar number 320, Senate Print 253 by Senator Serrano, an act to amend the arts and cultural affairs law and the economic development law. Calendar number 833, Senate Print 2099B by Senator Harkin, an act to amend the public health law.
Madam President, I move to reconsider the vote by which these bills were passed.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stuart Cousins, White, ayes 53.
Madam President, I offer the following amendments to the aforementioned bills.
The amendments are received and the bills will retain its place on the third reading calendar.
Madam President, can we return to motions and resolutions? I would like to call up previously adopted resolutions 267 by Senator Tedisco, as well as adopted resolution number 610, also by Senator Tedisco. I ask that these resolutions be read title only and call on Senator Tedisco.
Secretary will read.
Senate Resolution 267 by Senator Tedisco, congratulating the Burnt Hills Boston Lake High School boys cross-country team and head coach Chip Button upon the occasion of capturing the 2022 New York State Class B cross-country championship. Senate Resolution 610 by Senator Tedisco, congratulating the Burnt Hills Boston Lake High School girls relay team and head coach Megan James upon the occasion of capturing the 2023 New York State 4x400 relay title at the New York State Public High School Athletic Association Indoor Track and Field Championships.
Senator Tedisco on the resolutions.
Thank you so much, Madam President. I am pleased and extremely proud to welcome two outstanding track and field teams from the Burnt Hills Boston Lake School District, a crown jewel in the New York's 44th Senate District. Now, one of these teams, being recognized here at the Capitol, has been recognized so many times, they've actually offered to give the tours here. The other team is starting their own track record of success, and I'm sure they're going to be back often also. Our first group of honorees are the Burnt Hills Boston Lake boys cross-country team and head coach Chip Button. This group has once again captured the New York State Class B Cross Country Championship on Saturday, November 12, 2022, at Vernon Verona Sherrill High School in Verona, finishing ahead of runner-up Vestal High School. The Burnt Hills Ballston Lake boys cross country team has now won six straight New York State Class B cross country team championships. Without going out on a limb, this would likely be a seventh straight if it were not for the pandemic. Additionally, the victory marked their 11th straight title overall. Prior to their perennial success at the state level, the team compiled a Suburban Council dual meet record of 11-3 en route to a 23rd Section 2 championship. These are the championship runners: Keller Casey, Braden Sear, Brody Dugan, Thomas Kotkowski, Nolan McFarland, Logan Muller, Caden Robeleno, Matthew Rounds, Ben Smith, and Matthew Whitaker. They're coached by their outstanding coach, Chip Button. Our second group of honorees from Burnt Hills Ballston Lake High School is the girls relay team and head coach Megan James for capturing the 2023 New York State 4x400 Relay Championship on Saturday, March 4th, 2023, at the Ocean Breeze Athletic Complex on Staten Island. These are uncharted waters for the Burnt Hills Ballston Lake High School girls relay team, who won their first ever title at indoor state competition, but surely not their last. Demonstrating speed and superlative teamwork, the Burnt Hills Ballston Lake High School foursome won the 4x400 with an outstanding time of 3 minutes, 59 seconds, and 02, which broke a school record. Earlier in the season, this relay team also won the Section 2 title and Division II championship race and the Section 2 state qualifying race. They are Samantha Torres, Cassidy Robeleno, Alexander O'Rourke, and Mia Paulino. Head coach Megan James did a wonderful job. Eric Friedstone is one of their assistant coaches, and Matt Schell, who's been an outstanding coach at Burnt Hills Ballston Lake for years, was another assistant coach. He's here today. Each of these teams represented their school's track and field program well both on and off the race course, making their families and fellow students proud, and excelled academically in a tremendous way. A common thread to the achievement of both of these great teams is a second-to-none athletic department spearheaded by the school's athletic director, Joe Scalise, who is also here with us this morning. Madam President, please extend a warm welcome to these outstanding student athletes and give them all the cordialities of this chamber. We're proud and thankful that they represent the 44th Senatorial District and their school, Burnt Hills Ballston Lake, so outstandingly.
To our guests, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate and extend to you the privileges and courtesies of this House. Please rise and be recognized. Resolution 267 was adopted on January 18th. Resolution 610 was adopted on March 28th. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Madam President. Let's take up previously adopted Resolution 441 by Senator Comrie. I ask that that be read title only and recognize Senator Comrie. Thank you.
Senate Resolution 441 by Senator Comrie, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to declare June 2023 as North American Hurricane Awareness Month in the state of New York at the start of the Atlantic hurricane season.
Senator Comrie on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. Good afternoon. I rise to speak on a resolution recognizing May as Huntington Disease Awareness Month in New York. I would first like to acknowledge our guests that are here from the Albany chapter of the Huntington Disease Society of America. Thank you for coming to the chamber today to advance awareness on this devastating disease. I want to acknowledge my colleague, Senator Gustavo Rivera, our reliable Health Committee Chair, for having carried this resolution in past years. For those of you who don't know, Huntington's disease is a rare hereditary neurodegenerative disease for which there are no known effective treatments. It's being described as like having ALS, Parkinson's disease, and Alzheimer's disease simultaneously. The disease is named after George Huntington, a Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons graduate who wrote one of the most comprehensive and accurate descriptions of the disease in 1872, despite having little clinical experience and never having had a patient with the disease. After his groundbreaking report, Dr. Huntington continued to spread awareness of the disease to a wide number of medical societies, including the New York Neurological Society. Those who suffer from this disease or who have loved ones suffering from this disease deserves the utmost compassion and support, but that can only come from understanding the needs of this vulnerable community. As we use the month of May to increase awareness and understanding of Huntington's disease, we must also take this opportunity to reflect on how we as legislators can better support the community through increasing access to research, home care, and more. I'm proud to support this resolution. Thank you, Madam President.
To our guests, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of this House. Please rise and be recognized. The resolution was previously adopted on February 28th. Senator Serrano.
Thank you. At the request of the sponsors, the resolutions are open for co-sponsorship.
The resolutions are open for co-sponsorship. Should you choose not to be a co-sponsor on the resolutions, please notify the desk. Senator Serrano.
Thank you. Let's please take up the reading of the calendar.
Secretary will read.
Calendar number 129, Senate Print 1303 by Senator Parker, enactment of the Public Service Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar number 129, those senators voting in the negative are Senators Ashby, Borrello, Casanare, Fitzpatrick. Senator O'Mara, Ort, Rhodes, Tedisco, Walzek, and White. Also Senator Griffo. Ayes 46, nays 10.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 231, Senate Print 1851A by Senator Hinchey, enactment of the Public Service Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 57.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 527, Senate Print 1199A by Senator Parker, enactment of the Public Service Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 30th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 527, voted in the negative, Senator Walzek. Ayes 56, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 528, Senate Print 1200A by Senator Parker, enactment of the Public Service Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act take effect on the 30th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 528, voted in the negative, Senator Walzek. Ayes 56, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 670, Senate Print 405 by Senator Parker, enactment of the Public Service Law.
Laid aside.
Calendar number 764, Assembly number 2873A by Assemblymember Kellers, enactment of the Public Officers Law.
The bill will be laid aside for the day.
Calendar number 772, Senate Print 4349 by Senator Sepulveda, enactment of the Real Property Tax Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 57.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 775, Senate Print 5915 by Senator Gonzalez, an act to amend the executive law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 90th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Gonzalez to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm excited to speak in favor of this legislation as it is crucial in supporting survivors. Economic abuse is a form of control where victims do not have full access to their own income, spending, or bank accounts. It isn't limited to financial matters alone and can also include denying necessities such as food, clothing, transportation, and/or technology. It is the leading reason why victims stay in or return to their abusers. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, between 94% to 99% of domestic violence survivors have experienced economic abuse. That's why this spring, New York City passed Intro 148A to expand the definition of domestic violence to include economic abuse. By changing this definition, city-level protections and supportive programs became available to survivors of economic abuse, yet the knowledge gap that exists between survivors and those programs serves as an additional barrier to accessing them. That's why I chose to carry this bill, which builds upon the legislation by ensuring that those who suffer from this form of abuse will have access to the information and resources they need. S 5915 requires the Office of Prevention of Domestic Violence to distribute materials on economic abuse at temporary shelters, local social service offices, police departments, and child care facilities. The materials would include information on identifying and preventing economic abuse, as well as resources available to those experiencing economic abuse. It's critical as legislators that we meet people where they're at and to equip the most vulnerable of us with the tools to overcome violence. I'm proud to see our state take another step in doing so, and therefore to support survivors in all the ways that domestic violence occurs. I vote aye. Thank you.
Senator Gonzalez to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 57.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 785, Senate Print 5164 by Senator Gallivan, an act to amend the not-for-profit corporation law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 57.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 804, Senate Print 5850 by Senator Rhodes, an act authorizing the Seaford Fire District to receive retroactive real property tax exempt status.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 57.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 809, Senate Print 5355 by Senator Brisport, an act to amend the education law.
Read the last section.
Section 5, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 57.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 810, Senate Print 5518 by Senator Brooke, an act to amend the education law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Brooks to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. And I want to thank my colleagues and the leader for bringing this bill to a vote. And I wanted to quickly explain so we all understand what this piece of legislation will do and why I'm so excited to vote aye, obviously, and sponsor it. And one of the reasons is because we talk a lot about mental health and the challenges that exist right now in New York State and in the country, and really in the world right now. And one of the top priorities I took on when I started as chair of the Mental Health Committee was talking about this idea of cultural competence, cultural humility, linguistic competence, because at the end of the day, when you finally get the courage to go seek mental health help and talk to a counselor or a therapist or a psychologist, the last thing you want to do is show up in a room with someone who doesn't understand you, who doesn't see you, and isn't able to help you. And so what this bill will do is actually make sure that there is diversity and equity and inclusion training on an ongoing basis for psychologists. And I really want to give gratitude to our psychologists here in New York State who actually asked for these types of changes because they see that they want to be able to better serve the people that they serve, whether they be clients or patients. For that reason, I vote aye, and I hope that this is another step in the direction of making sure everyone gets the mental health care that they need. Thank you.
Senator Brooke to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 810, voted in the negative, Senator Walzek. Ayes 56, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 835, Senate Print 2285 by Senator Claire, an act to direct the Empire State Development Corporation to conduct a study on the feasibility of a minority and woman-owned business.
Read the last.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Claire to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. One of the keys to progression in any profession is successful mentoring and capacity building. This is certainly the case in business, the skilled trades, and many other industries, including our own robust MWBE programs here in the state. This legislation recognizes the foregoing facts and acts on them by requiring ESDC to conduct research regarding women-owned minority businesses, enterprises, capacity mentorship programs to help ensure their success. Such research will include the need for MWBE pre-qualification, as well as the preparation of these businesses for contract bidding in certain agencies and industries. Capacity mentorship programs within different state agencies have proven to be successful, and it is hoped that this bill will help set them as a statewide standard. Furthermore, this bill requires ESDC to issue an initial comprehensive report of their findings and suggested implementations, including statutory changes, regulatory actions required by agencies, a plan of action for implementation, the extent to which minority or women-owned business enterprise mentorship programs exist, and the relative success of existing programs. A second report due 24 months from the effective date of this act will be required to detail successful implementation actions and a plan for long-term success and stability. New York State is best served when our businesses can easily and seamlessly access beneficial programs, and this bill moves our MWBE program forward. I proudly vote aye.
Senator Claire to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 57.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 852, Senate Print 4890 by Senator Rivera, enactment of the Public Health Law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, the statute take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Okay, in relation to calendar 852, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Ashby, Borrello, Canzoneri Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Lanza, Martins, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Rollison, Steck, Tedisco, Walzick, and Weber. Ayes 38, nays 19.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 857, Assembly number 3302 by Assembly Member McDonald, enactment of the Public Health Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this action take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 57.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 874, Senate Print 1623 by Senator Comrie, enactment of the Public Service Law.
The bill will be laid aside for today.
Calendar number 877, Senate Print 4882 by Senator Mayer, enactment of the Public Service Law.
Read the last section.
Section 8, this action take effect on the 90th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 877, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Ashby, Borrello, Canzoneri Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Lanza, Martins, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Rollison, Steck, Tedisco, Walzick, Weber, and White. Ayes 37, nays 20.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 878, Senate Print 5130 by Senator Webb, enactment of the Public Service Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this action take effect on the 90th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Webb to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to explain my vote. This legislation amends the Public Service Law to require electric, gas, water, steam, telephone, and municipal utilities to provide notice to the property owner of any scheduled service that might interfere with that respective owner's ability to enjoy, use, or have access to their property. The fundamental push with this bill is simply about communication. Now, it is important for residents to know when they're going to experience some kind of minor inconvenience or a brief service interruption as pertains to when utility companies are doing their work with regards to regular maintenance and repairs. Now, it also recognizes that these repairs are necessary and ensures that the utilities are able to continue to deliver access to those respective utilities. However, it is also reasonable for utility customers to expect to receive a timely notice before this occurs so they can properly prepare accordingly. This legislation requires utilities to notify property owners between 30 days and 5 days in advance of any scheduled services. The notice must be in writing or, when appropriate, electronically, and must include the details surrounding the work, including duration, location, contact information for the utility, and if any road closures or detours are required, as well as necessary equipment. I also want to point out that this notice, the notice requirements do not apply in the case of work that's required following a natural disaster or state of emergency situation. I also want to point out that this bill does not prohibit the service from happening. It is just simply asking for communication to be given to customers as it pertains to anticipated work. Again, I thank our Senate Majority Leader and colleagues for allowing me to bring this bill forward. It is important, and I would like to say I'll be voting aye, and I encourage my colleagues to also do the same. Thank you.
Senator Webb to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 878, voted in the negative, Senator Walzek. Ayes 56, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 883, Senate Print 6557A by Senator Mayer. Enactment of the Public Service Law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this action take effect 1 year after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 883, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Ashby, Borrello, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Tedisco, Weber, and Walzek. Ayes 49, nays 8.
The bill is passed.
Oh, excuse me. Also, Senator White. Ayes 48, nays 9.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 884, Senate Print 6710 by Senator Skoufis. Enactment of the Public Service Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this action take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 57.
The bill is passed. Senator Serrano, that completes the reading of today's calendar.
Thank you. Can we please go to the reading of the controversial calendar?
Secretary will ring the bell. Secretary will read.
Calendar number 670, Senate Print 405 by Senator Parker. Enactment of the Public Service Law.
Senator Martins, why do you rise?
Madam President, I was wondering if the sponsor would yield to a few questions.
Will the sponsor yield?
Yes, Madam President, I'll yield.
The sponsor yields.
I thank Senator Parker. Thank you. So through you, Madam President, Senator, would you agree that the mission of the Public Service Commission is to ensure affordable, safe, secure, and reliable access to electric and gas service in New York?
Madam President, through you, and I've been instructed to keep it brief, I don't know if I would agree with that. I don't know if I would agree with that. That may be part of what their stated mission is, but I'm not clear that they actually do all the things that's needed to be done, which is why we brought this legislation forward.
Madam President, through you, if the sponsor would continue to yield.
Does the sponsor yield?
I do, Madam President.
The sponsor yields.
Madam President, through you, if the sponsor would give us a sense of the costs associated with this bill on an annual basis, what the projection is and the basis for that projection.
Madam President, there is actually no cost to the state or taxpayers through this bill.
Madam President, if the sponsor would continue to yield.
Does the sponsor yield?
Who yield?
The sponsor yields.
Madam President, I fully understand that the costs here are associated with ratepayers, and it's ratepayers who are going to pay for these costs. I was just inquiring as to whether or not a study has been done as to what this cost would be to ratepayers, that is, the ratepayers of electrical and utility rates here in New York State, what happens to be amongst the highest in the country, whether or not the sponsor has those statistics as to what the cost would be, and then we can go from there.
Madam President, through you, this bill is let me say this, Senator Martins is making the exact point for why this bill is necessary, and I thank him. He's absolutely right. People in New York State pay too much for utility costs, which is why the package of bills that you saw today was directly aimed at lowering those costs. This bill in particular is actually directed at the notion that utility companies go to the PSC, they get rate cases, and the people who are affected, the ratepayers, don't have enough recourse. They don't have the ability to come in with the studies and the legal representation and the experts that the large utilities have, and then utilities are granted these very large rate cases, which raises rates, literally raises rates, and is done in opposition and to the objection of ratepayers. This is an attempt to begin to level the playing field, to provide resources from the company that, in fact, allows them to, in fact, fight the companies on these rate cases. And it can't possibly raise the rates of those ratepayers because the only way that the utilities can raise their rates is through the actual rate cases. So if they don't get the rate cases, then you can't even pass down these legal costs.
Madam President, through you, if the sponsor would continue to yield.
Does the sponsor yield?
I do.
The sponsor yields.
Thank you, Madam President. I was hoping that the sponsor would actually be able to give us a number as to a projected cost for this in terms of a reimbursement at ratepayer expense for paying for interveners on an annual basis, and if they've actually calculated what that projected cost may be.
Through you, Madam President, that projected cost is a paltry $2 to $3 million, which in the context of utility budgets is a rounding error.
And Madam President, through you, you know what, Madam President, on the bill. And I thank the sponsor.
Senator Martins on the bill.
You know, I know it's a getaway day, and we're going to keep it as short as possible, and I do appreciate the sponsors answering some questions, but here's my concern. You know, we all have an idea of what the purpose is of the Public Service Commission. Some people may actually believe, frankly, as I do, that they do actually stand as an independent voice for ratepayers, for protecting things like safety, reliability, and cost when it comes to utilities in New York State. Here's what I'm concerned about, Madam President. I'm concerned about the effort of actually funding special interest groups. Some people may call them lobbyists, people who don't necessarily have the interest of keeping rates low and reliable and safe, but actually may have a different agenda. And having them actually intervene in every case that they feel is warranted at ratepayer expense. Right now, they have to prioritize which ones they want to get involved in. But if you're going to set up a cottage industry that is based on utilities and actually require our ratepayers to fund them and their agenda, then frankly, I'd rather have our ratepayers hold on to their own money and have those lobbyists or special interest groups promote themselves. Now, if I had a guarantee here or had any sense that this would be limited just to ratepayers, to interested individuals directly, then we'd probably be having a different conversation. But it's not. The idea that anyone thinks that this isn't going to be the source of abuse and the opportunity for different groups to actually use ratepayers as a piggy bank to pay for their agenda, I think is naive. We've seen that all too often here, where we have a well-intentioned policy that ends up running off the rails and costing our residents, whether they're as a taxpayer or as a ratepayer, additional funds. So although I understand the purpose of the bill and I understand why the sponsor wants it to give people a voice, I think, unfortunately, because of how broad it is and how, frankly, how it can be abused, it puts our ratepayers actually at risk. Madam President, we already have, through government, through New York State, whether it's through the Public Service Commission, whether it's because of, we have a special counsel for ratepayer protection, we have the Attorney General's office, we have the Utility Intervention Unit at the Department of State. We have groups that we already fund as a state in order to provide a voice and an independent voice for ratepayers when it comes to intervention with the Public Service Commission. We have the Public Service Commission itself. The whole purpose of the Public Service Commission is precisely to protect ratepayers against large utilities because it is disproportionately affected and frankly affects all of our ratepayers. So I'll be voting no, although, again, I thank the sponsor for having frankly, put this bill forward, but I think it's too broad, it's going to cost too much money and add to the cost. And frankly, folks, think about who's going to show up at these meetings and think about how much it's going to cost all of our ratepayers and then decide for yourselves. I'll be voting no, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. Are there any other senators wishing to be heard? Seeing, hearing none, debate is closed. Secretary will ring the bell. Read the last section. Senator Serrano.
Madam President, upon consent, we will return this bill to the non-controversial calendar.
The bill will return to the non-controversial calendar. Read the last section.
Section 3, this act take effect on the 30th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Senator Parker to explain his vote.
Thank you, Madam President. Explain my vote. Obviously, I'm voting aye on this really, really important bill. What we have seen over the last couple of years is that energy rates in the state of New York have gone through the roof and have multiplied exponentially. And trying to find ways to keep those rates under control is paramount for my committee as the chair of the Energy and Telecommunications Committee, and certainly should be paramount to this body. It is interesting to me that my colleagues on the other side of the aisle who beat the drum about how much things are going to cost now allow utilities who spend tens of millions of dollars on legal fees to raise their constituents' utility bills, don't want to spend a couple of $1 million to allow those constituents to be able to fight back and be able to make sure those utility costs stay low. I vote aye. I encourage all of my colleagues, but particularly those who represent low and moderate income New Yorkers across the state, to stand up for those instead of standing up for the big utilities. Thank you.
Senator Parker to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to Calendar 670, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Ashby, Borrello, Casanova Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Lanza, Martins, Terra, Murray, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Steck, Walzek, Weber, and White. Also, Senator Tedisco. Ayes 42, nays 17.
The bill is passed. Senator Serrano, that completes the reading of the controversial calendar.
Thank you. Is there any further business at the desk?
There is no further business at the desk.
I move to adjourn until Monday, May 22nd at 3 p.m., with the intervening days being legislative days.
On motion, the Senate stands adjourned until Monday, May 22nd at 3 p.m., with the intervening days being legislative days.